Utpal Patel, what are the plans concerning the share premium monies allocation? So that was a RNS that we released recently, and it's essentially a tool for us to, have a potential share buyback or dividend in the future. It was a share premium that was sitting on the balance sheet. We needed to remove that in order to have that in the toolbox, so we did that. That was one of the things we announced at the AGM. So that's done. So now that is a potential lever we can pull on should there be the right opportunity to pull on it. Mick, hi Peter. Does the company flip BTC ZEC if you see an opportunity in an altcoin? So in general, Mick, we're not traders. As I mentioned before, our movement is generally from ZEC. We do trade into Bitcoin on a daily basis. That those mining efforts come in Bitcoin, and then our Bitcoin on a weekly basis. Several times a week, we're moving from Bitcoin into fiat. So we don't necessarily flip into an altcoin. We don't flip into an altcoin unless it's a one-off investment like we did in Polkadot, or we did a few small other ones like that in 2019. We haven't done any in 2020 so far. Here we go. Antonio Alcaraz. I see a clear advantage investing in Bitcoin through Argo blockchain. Nevertheless, what is your strategy? Will you be just holders, or will you trade in some point? Thanks a lot. Again, just talked about asset management. So want to be as long as possible in Bitcoin. Where possible, have to hold on some cash for operational expenses and a potential downturn. WMS James, you recently announced a managed service contract with a third party. Do you expect this income stream to grow in the future? Good question. And I just kind of answered it in a previous answer to a question. We'll see. It's an interesting opportunity. We're glad that we signed that contract. We think it's a potential area of growth. Pelo Arez, in your opinion, what is the best way for Argo to return capital to shareholders, dividends or share repurchases? And then Blue Cedar says, hopefully the company profits will be reinvested. Shares buyback makes little sense at that stage, but curious to hear the answer. And then Pelo Arez says, totally agree. They will need more capital in the future to grow. So there's a little debate going on here. So they can reinvest the cash flow, but in a more pessimistic scenario, I would prefer the buyback. I like this because you can see that even among shareholders, there's lots of opinions about whether we should, if we have excess capital, whether we should do a share buyback, whether we should do a dividend, whether we should reinvest it into machines. So far, we haven't had a ton of excess capital, to do a dividend or a share buyback, and so again, when the time is right, we want to return value to shareholders where and when possible. So far we hope that our share price uplift is an opportunity for shareholders. If there's an opportunity for dividends or for us to do a share buyback, we'll do that when the time is right. All right, the next question is from Sean James. Sean asks, what can we expect from Argo in 2021? And why is Argo a better investment than buying Bitcoin direct? So two questions in there from Sean. So on the first part, Sean, 2021, obviously I've already spoken about the 4,500 new machines that are going to be coming in early February, and that's going to add a significant amount of capacity for us to start the year. That's going to be great. It's going to help our margins. It's going to allow us to continue to build on the Bitcoin holding that you've seen kind of in our RNSs over the last few months, and it's going to increase or improve and continue to improve our cash flow situation. So all that is going to be right at the start of the year when those machines come online. In terms of growth, I've already spoken in several of these questions about our smart growth mantra and our smart growth strategy in terms of building more infrastructure and adding more capacity, when the time is right, when the deals are right. And then in terms of the larger picture for the cryptocurrency ecosystem, I would say, Bitcoin is going to continue to build on where it's gone over the last few months. I don't like to predict prices. I don't like to predict timelines, but I think it's pretty clear what the general trend is. So that's going to be, I think, really exciting, and we're going to obviously be watching it very closely. The second part is, why is Argo a better investment than buying Bitcoin direct? I think the best way to kind of talk about Argo versus Bitcoin in this context is probably to talk about, comparables in the marketplace. And obviously we talk a lot about Bitcoin being digital gold. So when you look at, your stock portfolio, or historically how people have invested in something like gold, one option is to buy gold, and lots of people do that. Another option is to buy, gold miners or junior miners, or, those types of companies. So we would obviously fit into the category of a mining company, a junior mining company in the crypto space. So I think when you look at those companies, when you look at junior gold mining companies, they tend to outpace the increase, the uplift that you see on the gold side. And I think that I would argue that you would see that same type of outpacing happening from Argo. And if you look at the last 6 months, price of Bitcoin has increased quite significantly. The Argo share price has outpaced it over the last 6 months. So I think that would, just in terms of a direct investment, comparables, I would say that's probably the way I think about it. But in terms of Bitcoin as an investment, we're obviously all very bullish on Bitcoin at Argo. I've talked about, another question I talked about, what I hold in my cryptocurrency, my personal cryptocurrency holdings, and a big part of that is Bitcoin. I encourage my kids to buy Bitcoin. My mom is actually going to be buying some Bitcoin. She just this week, she's like, okay, it's time for me to buy some Bitcoin. So I think that great to hold Bitcoin, and obviously if you want, to kind of have exposure to Bitcoin, but in a different way, in your ISA or however you want to kind of hold it, wherever you want to hold it, we think holding Argo is also a good call. Okay, so those are 2 questions from Sean. Thank you. Next question is from Jamesy227. Jamesy227 asks, hi there have been reports of freshly mined BTC attracting a premium price. Is this true? And is this something we are taking advantage of or plan to take advantage of in the future? So this is the idea of virgin Bitcoins. And it's something that we spoke about as a company back in 2019. You might recall that, James. It's something that we are studying, that we're continuing to look at. It's not something that we are, using as one of the tools in our box right now. But that's not to say that should the regulatory environment require or promote or put a premium on virgin Bitcoin, it's not to say that's something we wouldn't do or something that we wouldn't market or talk about. So there's lots of institutions that are becoming more interested, it seems like on a daily basis, but certainly on a quarterly basis, in holding Bitcoin. And if there's an opportunity for virgin Bitcoin, Bitcoin that hasn't been touched by anyone else, to be a better investment for them or a better opportunity for them, then that's something that we would definitely want to take advantage of it. So we're looking at it, we're researching it, but it's not really part of what we're doing right now. All right, last question is from NowhereMan48, a great Twitter name. Nowhereman asks, we are so undervalued compared to other miners. Do you think a dual listing would bring in more investors, or do you have other ideas to get full value? A couple different pieces in there. The dual listing I've already spoken about, so we'll just park it there for now. Comparing us to other companies, I don't want to get deep into that, other than there's lots of information out there. There's some great analysis that's being done that you're welcome to go and read. There's various reasons for it. We obviously think that running an effective and efficient organization is the most important thing, and it's something that we've done, throughout throughout the history of Argo, but particularly this year, we've really nailed it on an operational level, and I think our results speak for ourselves. In terms of other things that we can do to get full value for Argo, I think getting the story out and really telling the Argo, speaking about the Argo story and the Argo opportunity, is something that I've tried to emphasize over the last 12 months. And I think it's worked. I think it's working. I think we've increased our communication opportunities and our communication, just kind of across the board in general, and doing things like this, to engaging with shareholders, either existing shareholders or potential shareholders, is something that's really important, I think, to get full value, whether we're listed in London or there's a dual listing at some time in the future, which may or may not happen, which I can't comment on. So I think that's really important, and I thank our shareholders that are already out there telling our story and sharing, the opportunity that they see, and hopefully more of you will do that in the future. Okay, so that's it. Those are the questions. It was quite a lot. Thank you for sending them in. If you have felt that this has been useful, please leave a comment at the bottom here underneath these video responses. And if there's enough positive, sentiment about this being of value to people, then we'll do it again, probably sometime in early 2021. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of the year.